I mean, of course, I don't know it, but I think third grade's a good grade. I don't know. That's just how I feel. But it's scary.
You got it.
So is everybody enjoying the book so far?
Yeah, I really like it. I don't know, it's really insightful. There's things that I've read in chapters 2, 3, and 4 that even I didn't know, how they're talking about the elementary students weren't being taught right history. Like, there's stuff that I didn't even know about Thanksgiving and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. We're all taught the same things, and then now that we're older, we see the inside of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know my class, we're learning about the War of 1812, and we're in second grade.
Wow.
So how interesting and fun is that, y'all?
Yeah.
So it's been interesting, and there are definitely things that I had no idea about.
I know.
So teaching the kids, they're like, "Did you know about this?" I'm like, if I'm being honest, no, but I am learning with you guys.
Maybe we just forgot.
Did y'all know
Do what?
zip code? What it stood for? I didn't.
No.
Do we want to go ahead and start with talking about chapter 2 and what we thought, and maybe jotted some ideas down?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I did print out the study pack. Did y'all get that?
Yes, I did mine.
Okay. I answered a couple here. Like one, or if you didn't print it, that's fine. We'll just talk about it. Like put one, like historical narratives that we need to, or that we think we need to unlearn. I thought just like y'all said, everything that we learned all at, when we were younger, it's not what we thought it was. So not everybody did something good. Not every event was a good event or heroic event or whatnot. And I think that's where my mind was still at, or is still at, because I need to unlearn that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same thing. And I feel like already in this course, I've learned a lot, and how she's already hit like that Dropbox we did where we did the face and we did the good and the bad, and then reading about narratives last week. I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird how there's so much stuff that I didn't know. And then I try to think about one of my kids coming home and telling me something about the Thanksgiving, just for example, and telling me, like, from your child to hear everything that you've known is wrong, like, I would immediately go to Google and be like, why are you talking about this? But I think it's good that they're heading in the direction I don't even feel like my district is all the way here yet, teaching our students exactly what happened or why it happened, because you still see the insensitive things being done, like the Pilgrims and the Indians for Thanksgiving, or the skits or whatever. Like, how would I be a first-year teacher going in and saying this is not what we should be doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot it's still a lot. This book's really insightful, I think. I want to take it to them and have everybody read it that I work with.
I can kind of piggyback off of that too. I kind of just wrote down a little bit of the same that y'all did, but I also put, like, not strictly just teaching it by what either we knew, but more along the lines of somehow finding a way to make it into a lesson that's interesting and maybe making it into a story, but it's all based on facts, or not just reading it by the book, especially with younger age kids. I mean, I know my second graders, anything can bore them. So I have to think of tons of different ways to keep them involved and want to know about it. So maybe making activities for it, or even just doing like hands-on learning with maybe something that was either made in, I don't know, in a tribe or anything like that, just to kind of keep them interested.
Yeah, something that I wrote down, which they talked about in the book, but like the face assignment that we had to do, I did Christopher Columbus, and like I was like, how am I 22 years old and I didn't know any of this?
Right.
And then like what you said, I was like how do I go in as a first year teacher? And I'm like, you guys who have been teaching for however many years are doing it wrong. I'm like, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, do we just do what has been done and continue to quote unquote lie to students and teach false narratives? It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yes.
It is, and like in some topics, and I wrote it in the book, like it's hard because it's like you don't feel, I guess, comfortable, like to like speak, about what really happened, instead of like, okay, this is what the book says, this is what we're teaching you. But there's so many things that have, like so many other things that we don't know that happened or that wasn't put in the book, and it's just crazy. Like, and I did Martin Luther King for the face assignment, and I was just like, okay, like I didn't know any of this, just thinking back to what I was taught, or we were taught this and this and that, but then these events also happened. It's like, well, why weren't we taught this, So it's, yeah, it is crazy that there's problems that are hidden, in certain subjects.
And I think I was thinking the same thing. Like, I feel like we may have learned it or discussed it in school, but like in detail and going into depth of what actually led up to either if there was a problem or why it became history, or if it was a battle and they won, or like, I think that we may touch on little things, but it's not a priority, especially like in the younger group, because it's all about reading and math. And
Yes.
I think that, yes, those are super important. And if you can't read, you can't do anything. I mean, because everything you do has reading in it. And so I think it's definitely harder for the younger age kids, just because they need to know those two things, like mainly.
Yeah.
And so trying to get in those history and science and social studies is kind of put on the back burner because you're trying to get those foundational skills built.
It is hard for the young age too, just because, like, so for example, for Black Heritage Month, we're the teacher I work with. We don't really go into like detail about it, just because they are little. But we also want to bring that awareness and tell what is Black Heritage Month, and we'll like talk about like Martin Luther King's like one of the main people that we talk about, and to give them like a background of things that happen, we'll play like a little video, but that's also appropriate for them for where they understand. So it's, it is hard, especially like for the little ones, for them to fully understand and also get, telling them like actual like true answers to like, I'm sorry, I'm like, oh, it's been a day. I'm trying to explain it, but I'm the same way.
Uh-oh.
Oh, she's gone. Okay.
Okay. right on her, girls. Why do you think we would, like me, for example, I would feel uncomfortable because I would be afraid of maybe a kid and tell mom and dad, my teacher said this, and then the parent come back at me and maybe said something that I wasn't supposed to say to their kid. I think that's something that would hold me from teaching or saying some of these lessons in detail, like we were talking about. What would the reason why you would feel uncomfortable, or would you be okay teaching in depth?
I think that it would be kind of both sides, just because, especially depending on what the conversation is and what topic. But I think that especially with younger, you can modify those. Maybe not go into like so much depth of, oh well, they lost the battle and so many people were killed, rather than saying, oh, so many people were, I don't know, slaughtered and their blood went everywhere. Blood went, like being more, I guess, to the point, but like still mentioning it, not necessarily maybe just going into like detailed facts about it, like that are just so far out there that they're like, what, or confused. Yeah. But I think I could see both sides. It is kind of hard to talk about those things, especially nowadays, because these kids know things that I didn't know until high school. Or middle school, because it's just the world now. Like, it's crazy how much they already know.
And they all get it from the phone technology. They have that access that we did not have. Oh, I guess everyone's computer's dying.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we were talking about Barack Obama the other day. We were talking about presidencies and all of those kinds of things, and it was actually in our lesson, in our reading lesson, and I was like, they were like, well, who's that? And I was like, he was the first African American president. And they were like, well, what's African American? And I was like, the first Black president. And they're like, oh, well, you're racist. And I'm like, no. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, but how do you, it's hard to identify that, because they know, especially if it's someone who works in your school, and they're like, well, who's that? And I'm like, the Black lady or the Hispanic lady that y'all love, or they're like, oh, well, that's racist. And I'm like, but I'm using that to describe them and showing them that they have their own unique qualities and what they're growing in. So it is a hard topic to talk about, because everything now is, oh, you're racist. But they're hearing that from everyone.
Yeah.
Not truly understanding that's what it means, So it's hard, and it can be challenging.
Yeah.
I think as far as how I feel, all these history lessons, they're like buildable. So like you said, we could modify them for the younger ages, but maybe leave it with, you'll learn more about this next year, or, and you send newsletters home, so you can maybe add in there that you're going to be teaching that. So if anyone has an issue, they can, because there's going to be issues, there's going to be parents that have problems with everything. So those few can address it, prior, but they're buildable history lessons. I feel like as long as you leave it with the facts that, they'll learn more in third grade or fourth grade or so on. So I think maybe that is why it still hasn't changed, because everyone's kind of scared to progress, I guess is the word. I don't know.
Yeah. And maybe even just like sending a letter home, like, hey, we're going to be learning about this the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So then kids aren't just going home and saying these random things, and the parents are like, what? Like, my kid's learning about this? They're in second grade? Like, so maybe just giving a note home. We're going to be learning on this topic, and I just want you to be aware, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
I have looked at the debate for Chapter 2, and I thought it was very interesting. And the statement says, teaching accurate history lessons to younger students is inappropriate. They're too young, and it's just circle one, I agree, I disagree, or I'm unsure. And I just kind of put both, which I told y'all my reasons. But anybody have any thoughts that they want to throw in?
I'm with you, about just teach them or talk to them about that word art, because they keep going out, Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit.
me now.
Okay. So yeah, I would just say I'm unsure.
Yeah. I would say a little bit of both. I don't know. I don't feel like it's inappropriate to be taught. It's just how it's going to be interpreted by, I guess, their parents. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying the same thing, but.
All right. Want to move on to chapter 3?
Yes.
Don't check on the baby.
Oh.
Check on them.
Big girls.
You can see it. They can hear them.
Sorry,
Okay, chapter 3.
So,
So this one was talking about basically sociology and exposing students to more new cultures and discussing new and different experiences. And what I liked was celebrating families around the globe. So like Mother's Day or Father's Day, and if there's any other countries that celebrate these types of days. And I think if I saw here correctly, it says something about Koreans observe Children's Day, and I don't know if we have Children's Day or if it said it here and I don't remember. Oh, we do have a Children's Day in the United States, but
we do.
yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, and how like other countries have different types of days that we don't have. So it's just pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much branch out and be all inclusive is what I got out of this chapter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I also here it says that there was like a lesson and they were learning about Germany, and somebody had gone and brought like actual gingerbread, like for the gingerbread lesson they brought it from Germany. So I thought that was pretty cool too, like exposing that like from a different country instead of getting it from here. It's from Germany and they get to use that. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool as well. But that's what I liked about this chapter.
Something that I picked up on was them talking about using vertical alignment throughout grades instead of first grade working with first grade on lesson planning and third grade with third grade, and just like kind of everybody being like on the same, we're going to talk about this, and that way like all grades are experiencing the same things, rather than if we had gone in and we're talking to first grade about all of the bad things that Christopher Columbus had done without being too graphic, but then the second graders are learning about how heroic he was, and then they're very confused. So I think that is a really good idea too.
Yes.
We're all on the same page.
I just kind of jotted down that I think that it's important for them to learn different traditions and see all the different cultures that are out there, and maybe even looking at their traditions from another culture and maybe starting one in their family, or making something of their own out of it. And I think that just kind of allows for different like morals to be apprehended, and I think it would be a cool way to maybe incorporate that into your classroom as well.
We do something like that at Christmas. We have each teacher takes a country and we just say their different celebrations and traditions that they do during Christmas, and we bring the snacks and stuff like that. So that's fun. But I highlighted how it'll help them to be more accepting of the differences they see in the world, because we're all in this little bubble. You know, there's not a lot of chances for us to teach about all the different countries, but once they branch out and go to college or get a job, you know, they're going to be faced with so much, and just how it's going to help them see the differences and be able to accept others as they are. I think it's a big deal, big thing for them to learn young.
Does anybody else have anything on chapter 3? No. Okay, I'll start chapter 4 then. Economics, geography, and civics in the primary classroom. Question number 1 was, what maybe are some ways to include economic concepts into your curriculum? And I just put like maybe creating lesson plans, like such as a lesson on goods and services, or showing students different ways of saving or spending money, maybe balancing, obviously not a checkbook except for like maybe older grades, but like you could still incorporate that into the younger age. Making good choices, showing citizenship, just little things like that.
Yeah, that's what I had written down about exposure to the way money works and what it can do at an early versus beginning to teach them in high school when they have no concept of it, and you know, that way they already have some kind of knowledge about money and, you know, ways to handle the money and spending it and saving it.
Mm-hmm. I think it was powerful how it said in the book, just imagine the kind of students we would send out into the world if we start teaching them this at 5 years old. You know, when they get to 18, you're already faced with so much, but if you learn it your whole life, you know, how it said adulting is hard when you've been given little to no opportunity to learn these vital skills. Like, we're just setting them up for failure, I feel. And a lot of parents don't talk to their kids about it. So, like, a lot of stuff that we're meant to teach them on our own, I feel like that they're not exposed to any of it ever. When I graduated, had no idea what was going on around me. No idea. So I just feel like it's important. If we can start teaching it at 5, like the book said, just imagine what kind of students are going to be graduating high school.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. I liked the idea of exposing them to the different kinds of money from around the world, because like that's something that not a lot of kids know. Like the kids in my class, most of them were unaware that people in somewhere else didn't use the $1 bill and the $5 bill, and they were like, I can't just take my money over there and spend it. And I think that's something that is important that I had no idea about either until probably way too late.
Weird to think some of these kids haven't even probably seen a dime or a quarter or a dollar bill. Like,
Yeah.
Things have changed. They just changed so much.
Yes.
What I liked from chapter 4 was the geography portion, from teaching geography through current events. So like teach them the time zones, and that just because it's daylight here doesn't mean it's daylight on the other side of the world. It's nighttime over there, and that how there's different time zones. And I just thought that was neat because, you know, I mean, especially like a lot of kids don't know, like they think, oh, you know, everywhere is daytime or everywhere is nighttime. So it's like, well, no, because, you know, we're over here, they're over there. So right now the sun's over here, over there, you know, the moon's up. So it's just different with the time zones. And even here in the United States, obviously we're in the central time zone, and then West Coast is different, East Coast is different. So I thought that was pretty neat because honestly, I never really I guess thought about that. Like, it's after as reading this, I'm like, well, yeah, kids would really, you know, they don't really think about that. They just think, you know, okay, everything's the same. You know, so I thought that was neat. Something good to teach about visualizing time zones.
Does anybody else have anything?
I think I'm doing.
Yeah.
We have a minute and 3 seconds left, is what it says.
That's what it shows on mine too.
I was like, wait, less than a minute. How long was the meeting?
I really thought the bug at
Well,
the end of the civics.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Killing bugs at recess. That the civics ideas. You know,
Yes.
I thought that was cute.
Alright.
Alrighty. Well, if nobody else has anything, I'll go ahead and end this. And it does show the little recording circle at the top of my screen on. So if it pulls up for me, I'll make sure. And if not, whoever else recorded, you'll send it to me. But we should be good to go.